Welcome, everybody. Thank you, the Things Conference, for having me. I'm Pierre Gelpi from Semtech, in charge of LoRa business development in Europe. So like for smart metering, smart building, smart cities, the cost-effective infrastructure of LoRaWAN and the very long battery life, which can be combined into a very low TCO, are very attractive also for logistics. However, coverage during transport remains a challenge. So today, I will try to explain how this challenge can be solved. First, we'll ask ourselves why track and trace is so important. Then we'll have a look at how logistics are generally organized to understand the requirements for the relevant technologies. The objective being really to identify these technologies that can be used for logistics. And finally, I will illustrate with a few customer examples. The main motivation for track and trace is loss of goods or assets. It's not really about one isolated empty pallet somewhere, but when you lose a whole container of perishable food, it costs thousands of euros. In other sectors than food, there are also other examples, of course. In healthcare, we see today that millions of doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been lost, partly due to cold chain problems. So this is really critical. Then pallets or returnable assets in general are rented by poolers, and they are making loops from the factories where the goods are produced to where they are consumed, and then they come back empty. So unauthorized use of these assets is a big problem for these players. Of course, increasing the number of loops with the same number of assets or reducing the number of assets for the same number of loops is also very important for them. And all of this is brought by track and trace solutions. Finally, theft is also critical in supply chains. Theft of high-value goods in particular, from smartphones to construction vehicles, everything gets stolen. Now that we have good reasons to build solutions for logistics, let's have a look at how they are organized in general. This is a very simple diagram, but as I said, there can be loops as well. It starts from the left with the factory where goods are produced, and then local transport is generally organized with trucks in the same country towards distribution centers. These flows are aggregated in these distribution centers, and then between distribution centers, there is long distance transport. That is either by plane, by boat, by train, or by truck as well, sometimes. And these long distance transport also has, of course, impacts on the requirements for the solutions. For instance, air transport requires certifications, and maritime transport is slightly longer, so requires long battery life of at least 2 months. Finally, the last mile distribution is again local, so organized with trucks. Coming into the solutions, this matrix shows coverage options in one direction and features, possible features in the other direction. On the top left, on-site automated inventory is a very attractive use case that brings already a lot of value for automotive and aviation industry. Then, depending on the user's role in the industry, several combinations are available. For instance, we spoke about healthcare industry or food industry. They would require cold chain, that means temperature monitoring. across the supply chain. Another example we mentioned is asset pooling. They need multi-country coverage to really follow the returnable assets during the whole loops. Let's face it, sub-gigahertz LoRaWAN will not solve everything. Combination of technologies, multi-radio access technologies, is really the smartest way to solve the problem, the coverage challenge of logistics, and to build solutions for logistics. For instance, for backhaul, CAT-M or other LP1s are a very good idea. For global transport, like with air transport or maritime transport, LoRa 2.4 gigahertz is the best solution. This solution can also be used in trucks. It makes it really global everywhere. And for geolocation, it's the same. A combination of technologies is the best idea. I'm talking about BLE, Wi-Fi, or GPS or GNSS combined with LoRaWAN. That is really the best solution. Looking at geolocation in a little bit more detail, LoRaWAN has really a great advantage to make the transition between indoor and outdoor geolocation seamless. That is very important. Then for either indoor or outdoor, depending on the accuracy that is required, different technologies can be combined with LoRaWAN. For outdoor, TDOA doesn't require anything on the device. It's really very simple. However, it needs the network to be enabled, and the accuracy is only a few hundred meters, so sometimes it's not enough. In this case, GPS is the solution because it has a better accuracy, and now the advantage is that it can also be low power thanks to LoRa Edge products, especially LR1110. Wi-Fi can also be used outdoors. It brings a few tens of meters of accuracy, and it can also be low power with LoRa Edge products. Wi-Fi can also be used indoors, and the main benefit indoors, it can use the existing access point infrastructure, so you might not need additional infrastructure indoors. And if you need even more accuracy than that, a BLE can also be considered. However, it would require additional infrastructure, but the advantage is that it can also be used with LoRa Edge products. Now that we have an idea of the different technologies that can be combined to build these solutions, I want to share a few customer stories from the factory to long-distance transport. LAWAC is an aviation industry manufacturer with factories in France, Portugal, Mexico, Canada, and India. They have rolled out this work order tracking solution in France and Portugal for the moment, looking at other countries in the future. And this solution is really about having real-time visibility on the progress into the manufacturing process. It uses indoor zoning in several buildings. It's covering both outdoor and indoor because these work order boxes are moving from different buildings. And there are two main benefits. The first one is really to save time, so to improve the lead time. But the second one is also to improve the lead time prediction accuracy, which is critical for their customer relationship. Coming to automotive industry, This is the typical example of returnable assets that I was talking about before. These racks cost hundreds of euros. Automotive manufacturers are spending millions of euros per year to replace them as replacement OPEX, and having this automated inventory solution with LoRaWAN removes all the manual scanning, the manual operations that creates the mistakes in the inventory. So the first benefit is really to save these replacement OPEX. As I was mentioning before, it also allows to reduce the amount of CapEx, the amount of racks needed for the same number of loops. And in their case, it can also help reduce the assembly line downtime, because with the real-time visibility, they know when the parts are arriving at the assembly line. In the case of VOLVO, it's really about outdoor geolocation. At the end of the manufacturing process, all the trucks are the same. So looking for them looking for a specific ID on this big parking takes a lot of time, and having parking lots accuracy geolocation really saves massive amount of time for them. Coming to maritime transport, long distance transport, Wilhelmsen is really a global player, and for them, it's clear that LoRa 2.4 GHz is the solution to have a global solution. They announced that already some time ago at the Things conference, and it's a great example that LoRa 2.4 GHz is the solution for global maritime transport. And following this lead, Y-Track developed this solution for Boluda for end-to-end food monitoring between Canarias Island and mainland Spain, including perishable food like bananas. It's a great success, and we also did some 2.4 GHz tests with them with great results, which makes their solution dual mode for global maritime transport, which is exactly what we had in mind. So as takeaways, I would say that supply chains face major challenges like loss, unauthorized use, or theft. Of course, IoT solutions bring massive amount of value, and not one technology solves everything, but LoRaWAN combined with other technologies really is the solution, both for coverage and geolocation, indoor and outdoor. And we have already a number of customer examples that confirm that, of course, LoRa has a lot of value, but multi-radio access technologies is really the best solution to solve the logistics coverage challenge. Thank you very much for your attention, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.